One of the hardest times to run a restaurant is after you win a big award. Best chef, best something, or 4 stars. People have their own idea of what that means. And so they bring their idea of what that means into your restaurant. I've never believed in the word best when it comes to food. I just find it to be untrue. What I might like is different than the person sitting next to me. What I commit to is excellence. I'm Alex Roberts, raised in Minneapolis, trained in New York City, and operate Restaurant Alma, Alma Provisions, Brasa Rotisserie, and Brasa Catering.
Team Spirit Award winner.
To be honest, I just started cooking when my parents divorced, and my dad was not a very good cook. So at a pretty young age, maybe 8, 9 years old, I started helping make dinner. Cooking became kind of something that I had in my back pocket. If I was over at a friend's house, I'd be making the family brunch for letting me come to the cabin or something like that. My first job was a dishwasher at 15. One day someone didn't show up to cook, and the chef asked me if I could boil pasta, cook some rice, something like that. I said, yeah, I can do that. The next day I showed up at work and they said, hey, you're not a dishwasher anymore, you're a cook. And I said, great. I love that. Yeah. That's so good. I'm gonna eat another bite. Restaurants are dynamic. I probably wouldn't do this if I was just cooking by myself. For me, it's the community of people. Every person you work with, if you get to work with them long enough, you'll find that they have a talent that exceeds your own. And so for me, it's really about getting to know people, to see what their potential might be, and then to commit to having a culture that's dedicated to learning and development and growth. At times, I think I see potential in people that they don't first see, and so sometimes it's about helping a person see those skills, those talents they have. I believe that our values around how we treat people is the secret to our longevity. Alma will be 27 this year, which is just a remarkable timeline for any restaurant. Some people say we're an institution or a standard bearer. Some people say we're like a dinosaur. I'm not sure what's true, but it feels fresh to me. We change the menu all the time. We've gone from being just a small restaurant to adding a cafe and small hotel. My business partner and partner in life, my wife Margot, runs Alma Provisions, our retail store and small cafe, and does all the floral and retail line for Alma. We met here in this building in the cafe space, which was formerly a coffee shop. Alma is a seasonally inspired restaurant based on change, focused on tasting menus and fine dining. Brasa Rotisserie is a kind of meat and 3 style place focused on American Creole cooking. It's grown from 1 small location to 4 plus catering. It's built on the staples, proteins, sides, family style. So the focus on Brasa is less about change and more about consistency. At Alma, we're always seeking to do something appropriate to our season.
We got our first watercress in today, actually. They thought they weren't gonna have it, so we have this beautiful watercress.
So look at that green. We have a lot more dialogue about food. Wow. Little details of the menu and sourcing and all those things. This is so good. Oh my God.
We're gonna use all this root vegetable, make a really beautiful toast with it.
Maggie Whelan, also known as Chef Marge, is our executive chef at Alma. We have been working together for over 16 years.
We're gonna dress it with this great watercress to kind of bridge that gap until we can get radishes in from the farm.
Potential, potential, potential is kind of how I would see her.
Beautiful parsnip puree.
You know, when you have someone who's working for you for like a year and they're asking tons of questions about dishes and how they're made and ask if they could be involved with specials, you see that spark.
You just kind of like give each vegetable its own texture.
Aha.
Yeah, there you go. And then anchovy, which are right here. We like to tear them up a little bit. You just kind of drape them across.
Nice.
Little bits of silver.
She just worked her way up, executing every step of the way. Being a chef is my training. I didn't go to business school, I went to cooking school. I've learned to run a business, but it was kind of like my part-time job to learn outside of the kitchen. Despite the CEO title that takes so much of my energy and time these days, I still love to cook more than anything else. And so being a chef is kind of the lens in which I do everything. This is just like the classic for me. Yellow rice and red beans, slow cooked greens, some yuca with a little bit of our signature green sauce, and then slow roasted pork. It's got lime and garlic and some oregano. I say Brasa's not a dining place, Brasa's an eating place. It's a place you can count on to come in, have a great plate of food, and get back to your life. Growing up, we ate rice and beans, but I hadn't learned about Caribbean cooking yet. Some of the West African influences of making a sofrito and really making like a delicious sauce with the beans. This is a raw Caribbean-style sofrito with green pepper, onion, garlic, cilantro, a little bit of oregano. Not too different from New Orleans style, except this is gonna be more of a Spanish Caribbean influence. I've got family roots in Louisiana. As a cook back in my teen years, I was trying to learn how to cook that food. We gotta get that raw out of those peppers. My parents didn't have those recipes. They weren't passed down, but I was seeking it. Smoked tomato, and then we'll add some peas. I moved to New York City when I was 21 to pursue professional cooking. Living in New York, that food was around me with my friends, coworkers, a lot of Puerto Rican people, Dominicans, and people from a lot of backgrounds. A friend's mom would cook for me every time I came over. Take our rice here, some fresh cilantro, yellow rice, red beans, a little bit of slow roasted meat, maybe some plantains, and I just fell in love with it. And so it really kind of became the foundation for what Brasa is. All right, more tasting to do. I'm working with Chef Christina to R&D a couple of possible dishes.
The smoke doesn't come out as much as I thought it would.
That's something I love doing. I love always getting into the food and tinkering with it. I love that process of evolving a recipe or coming up with a new one. Closer.
Yeah.
Chef Christina is our catering and commissary chef, and so she really, along with our crew, is like this kind of heartbeat of about half the recipes that come into every Brasa store. We've been talking about doing a mofongo-style dish.
Yeah.
I'm gonna deep fry pieces of the yuca with a little bit of our pork to make that pork crispy and the yuca crispy before I mash it with some of that garlic oil. So I've got the garlic in here, some salt.
Yep.
I have one of those American stories, which is my great-grandfather left New Orleans because he passed for white. He had a brother that did not pass for white. Their mother was the daughter of a freed slave. They were not Creole people technically, but they lived in the Creole neighborhood where they would be accepted. This should be good. Hopefully we got the right ratio. And so I don't know, why did I pick that food? Why was I drawn to it? We'll mash it together. It should be kind of starchy and hold together. Certainly not about taking credit. So we got our sauce here. It was about learning what made something authentic.
Nice.
Good. To be honest, just learning how to make something taste a certain way. Want to try?
Nice, yeah.
I wanted to know how to do it.
Good.
I think it's worth pursuing.
Uh-huh. I think it's great.
People have been asking me to make mofongo for
Yeah.
17 years or something like that. In 18 years.
Nice.
Thanks.
It's a hit.
A kitchen is like a party. The most boring party is when everybody is the same. But if you get a party with everybody from school or young and old and from different backgrounds, now you're having a good party. That's what a better kitchen's like. When you have a kitchen that has people from different backgrounds, different perspectives, you have a better environment for learning and for doing things in creative ways.
A dish that we're changing today is halibut because it just came in season in Alaska. I'm gonna fire this fish in clarified butter and just try seeing how these different crusts work out for us.
Early on at Alma, I was involved in creating all menus and would decide on the recipes and kind of slide them over to people to say, here's where we're starting. Now, all these years later, it's reversed. Marge will essentially decide, and she kind of slides it my way.
This halibut dish is inspired by these delicious seaweed chips that I ate every morning in Japan. They're super umami, really crispy potato chips with like little bits of seaweed on them, salty.
It's really good. Sometimes it might just be the outline of the menu, and sometimes she might be doing some R&D and have me taste something.
And we have the first spring spinach available from Hidden Streams. Came with the watercress this morning.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So it's a little more delicate.
Yep.
As a kid, there was a huge garden in the back, and I didn't like it. My dad would ask me to turn the compost or go pick some tomatoes for dinner or dig up some carrots. My twin brother and I would call them dirt carrots because they tasted a little more earthy than the ones from the supermarket, and we didn't prefer it. As a kid, I didn't really get it, but after going to New York and starting to go to green markets as part of my job, all of a sudden I realized, oh, that's part of me. Like, I know more than I realized, and it's something I started to like really value as part of what I do as a chef. The year I opened up Alma, my dad decided to try organic vegetable farming as a way to make a living. He grew the most amazing German garlic that had huge cloves and just peeled like without any effort. So we always have a little garlic out here. From the time he was 68 to about 83 years old, we were sourcing vegetables from him at Alma and Brasa too. We source food from farmers that take care of their animals and their land and their water, and that can make you really feel good about what it's doing for the world around us.
We have our spinach here. We're gonna use this butter sauce to kind of season the spinach, dress it, and
Well,
then—
that's a good smell.
Ooh, it smells good.
This is an industry that is in small margins, and you never feel that secure. You know, the reality is it's competitive. People can be fickle with their interests and tastes and where they go. And so, you know, I think even for a restaurant of our tenure and our track record, it never feels certain.
We should probably check our fish.
Will we get it crusty back up on top to finish?
We will, yeah.
Restaurants are not for the faint of heart. It requires endurance.
Kind of get it ready to plate here.
It requires intensity. All right, first halibut of the year. We have come close to losing our business a couple of times, doing negative numbers and having losses where you think, if this keeps going much longer, we're not gonna have a business at all. I've been there a few times, and so I never forget what that feels like, never take it for granted.
I'm super excited for this dish.
That being said, when you have 26 years, you think, well, I can get to a 27th. You should be proud of that. It's so good. Tonight, live tonight?
Tonight, yep.
Nice. Okay.
Yep. Good thing we like it. Of course.